Hello everybody, welcome to my New York City vlog for January. I am filming this intro on the last day that we're here, but you're going to notice that I look like I'm wearing the same thing every day because I packed all black and wore the same coat and the same scarf every day because it has been very cold. This is actually the warmest day that we've had and it's still like 30 degrees. Blake's also going to look like he's in the same thing because he's wearing the same jeans, jacket, and scarf every day.
Yeah, we packed more coats than we just carried them around, so now you just sat in the hotel.
But hope you guys enjoy seeing where we eat, what we do, and where we've stayed, and I'll check back with you guys at the end. So here we are at the Ludlow Hotel, and this was a really cool location. It's basically right across the street from Kat's Deli. Now, it was not the most convenient for the things that we wanted to do, as we always had to get on the subway. But as far as the actual quality of the hotel and the value for money, that's why we're giving it 5 stars. The room itself was very clean. It had some really cool details to it that made you feel very much like you were in New York. It felt like a New York City home. And then we go into the bathroom here, and the shower was the absolute best shower pressure I have ever experienced. We actually ran into a girl who was staying the night who lived just down the street because she wanted to take a shower and a bath in their hotel. So that should tell you guys how nice it is. The other thing that was really incredible about this hotel, besides the fact that it was very fairly priced, is the view that you are about to see here. We actually have a view of the Brooklyn Bridge. You can see it in the background, and that was just sort of the most amazing thing to wake up to. It obviously wasn't the quietest place in the world, but it was definitely quiet for New York standards. The first night that we were there, we ate at 7th Street Burger just because we were really hungry. Our flight had been super delayed due to a lot of weather issues. And while everything was super simple, very good, you have basically no menu options, so be prepared for that. But if you want just a good burger and fries, this is a fantastic place to go. After that, we walked to a bookshop called the Book Club, and this was really cool. They had a drink set up, they had plenty of people standing around socializing, they had a lot of really knowledgeable workers about the books going around and helping people find things, and it was just a really fun atmosphere because so many people were in there. They also had the blind book dates concept going on, which is where they have a book wrapped up and you basically purchase it on the outside description and you get surprised with what's in there. As we were walking to our final thing of the night, we came across this Home Depot and decided to go in, and it's just super fancy on the inside. Like, it's a regular Home Depot with the things they have for sale, but the actual layout of the store, it was multi-level. It had this incredible glass ceiling, there were columns everywhere, and so it was just really kind of fun and different to go into. I didn't put a rating on this just because it is a regular Home Depot, but it was a neat thing to stumble into on a cold day. Our final destination for the night was the Harry Potter store, and this was actually one of the things that was top on my list to get to go to, as I've gotten to do several different Harry Potter experiences, and honestly this one was the biggest letdown. While the store itself looked really cool, there was obviously a lot of thought that had gone into the details, into the different areas, and it was really cool to get to see some of the actual movie props. The store itself was just a bit of a disappointment almost. I don't really know exactly what it was, other than the fact that I was looking forward to hot butterbeer, and they only sold one of the types of butterbeer, which was the cold. So that was definitely a disappointment to me, and that probably colored some of my experience. But also seeing the actual props up against the items that they were selling, really big letdown as far as quality is concerned. Now, moving on to day 2, we started out, we were passing the Frankie shop and I wanted to go in. While the pieces themselves were really great quality, they had very little in terms of size selection, and so everything was too big. We then made our way on to John's Pizzeria on Bleecker, which is a family favorite of mine. To me, this is the absolute best pizza in New York, and you definitely have to go to the Bleecker Street location It is the original. They have the oldest ovens, and in my opinion, it's the best. I have eaten at the location near Times Square. This one is definitely better. Make sure to go to it. It is hands down the best pizza in New York. As we were walking to the bakery that I wanted to go to next, we saw Marie's Cheese right there on Bleecker as well, and my husband loves pasta and cheese, so this was a big stop in for him. I will say it was pretty impressive being in there, and the only thing that I really sort of had to complain about is that we had no idea how on earth we would get this cheese home if we were to buy it on the plane, and that is not their fault at all. But definitely really great selection of cheese if you are looking to bring some cheese home with you. We then went to Rocco's Bakery, which is also on Bleecker, and while I've gone to this for years, I had not been since they updated post-COVID, and I will say I miss the atmosphere that was in the old, before they remodeled style, and the desserts were still really, really good. My husband was unimpressed compared to some of the Italian bakeries that we've been to in Boston, but I still found it to be really tasty and really delicious. He got a variety of treats you could see on his plate. I just went for one really big lobster tail. Then we made our way to spend the rest of the day at the Met, and I always love going to the Met. I can easily spend an entire day here and enjoy myself. But one of the exhibits I was excited to see was the Women in Fashion exhibit, which is focusing on women designers. And so every single piece that was in this exhibit that you're about to see was all designed by women, and they had some really incredible, beautiful pieces in here. One of the reasons that I love this museum so much is that it really is truly a history museum more so than just an art museum. And of course, I always enjoy the Egypt stuff. I was obsessed with Egypt and mythology and the pharaohs as a kid, as a lot of kids are. And I just really appreciate the beauty of the pieces that they have. And my husband also really enjoys Egyptology, and so he was very interested in walking through all of these exhibits as well. There's just so much variety to see at this museum, and they've moved entire rooms from places into the museum, which is one of the things that you're seeing now. The other thing that I really love is that the Met is made up of a collection of buildings that have been put together over time, and you get to see that in the architecture as you move throughout the building. And I think that's one of the things that makes it very, very special. This museum really does have a huge variety of different types of art, from the paintings that you're seeing now to the absolutely gorgeous Middle Eastern rugs that were all over this exhibit. I'd actually never been in this part of the museum. I'd always run out of time, and so this was something that my husband and I really wanted to get to see. Apparently this that you're now seeing is actually one of the prize gems of the museum, and it is a truly gorgeous piece, but there were so many gorgeous rooms that were in here that they again brought over rooms to specifically install into the museum, and this is an example of that. You'll see another example here, and just truly amazing to get to see this architecture here in our country as opposed to having to travel to see it. And it's just really wonderful to appreciate the beauty from different cultures, and that is what this museum allows us to do. My husband is definitely a Roman Empire man, and so of course we had to stop in and see a lot of the things from Rome as well as from ancient Greece. And this was definitely an enjoyable exhibit for him as well as for me, because it does have a lot of different beautiful pieces inside of it. We then walked from the park to a couple of different shops that we wanted to hit while we were up on this end of town. The first of which is the Ralph Lauren men's store, and this is the most gorgeous store I've ever been in. I would live in this store. The rugs, the furnishings, the paintings, the decor, everything about the men's Ralph Lauren store is absolutely flawless. It is everything that I picture Ralph Lauren to be, and the store was very much emulating what I feel that the brand is, even though you were moving through the different lines of the brand. And I will be doing a video talking about the different Ralph Lauren lines, as that's something that a lot of people seem to have some confusion over as to what those lines mean. We then went across the street to the Ralph Lauren women's store, and this to me did not feel at all like Ralph Lauren. It felt far too French Parisian to me, and I just wasn't a fan. But we did stop at the French macaron shop Lauderay, and I really did enjoy getting to go here. This is one of my favorite places to pick up a quick snack in Paris. I was disappointed they didn't have any of the coffee eclairs that I love from the Paris locations though. We then passed another bookshop, and I took advantage of stopping in every bookshop that we could while we were here, and this was no exception. Another great bookshop, but the staff is not as friendly here as it was at the first one. Because we were hungry now that it was 9 o'clock at night, we decided to stop in at Kat's Deli and get dinner. And while it was neat to go to, we're big fans of When Harry Met Sally, the food wasn't overwhelmingly great, although the fries were fantastic. Day 3 was definitely a shopping day, but on our way there, we were passing IBM, which is where my grandfather worked for many years, and so we stopped by to take a picture in front of his old building, and then grabbed a bagel really quick. Liberty Bagel was okay, but honestly, neither my husband or I were overwhelmed. They have an insane amount of cream cheeses, but my husband said that just his plain cream cheese ended up tasting like a whole lot of the other things he thinks from just transfer from other cream cheeses. So he was pretty underwhelmed by that, and I wasn't overly thrilled either. We then stopped into the Apple store just because we do know that we're needing to upgrade our iPhones, and I mean, it's an Apple store, there's not really much to say other than that, and we just had some fun playing around with the different phones. Then we went to Bergdorf Goodman, and I was really unimpressed here. Everything that they had out was all they had. There were no other colors, no other sizes, no other of anything. Most of the sales associates in the various little boutiques were pretty short and rude to me, in all honesty, and I didn't particularly like that. Celine did have a lot of different options out, but that was definitely the most populated one by far. Every other place, whenever I asked, they said, nope, we're out of stock. What you see is all that we have. Now, the only one who was nice as a sales associate was the young man in the women's section of Alexander McQueen, where I tried on the Kate Middleton Alexander McQueen suit that she wears a lot in different colors. Love this suit. It is absolutely gorgeous and incredible. We then went to our VIP appointment at David Yurman and had an amazing time. The statue that you just saw was by David Yurman. This is the very first cable bracelet that was ever made. So getting to see that was really cool. Seeing just some of the original pieces that he made. This Dante necklace, if I could find any of his Dante collection, I would buy it in a heartbeat, even though I know it's probably ridiculously expensive, because these were just incredible works of art as jewelry. This is inside of the VIP room, and it was just very nice. It was good to be able just to set our stuff down there and not have to worry about it, have our coats off, have my bag down, and we were just able to leave that while we went around and looked at various pieces. And we had a lot of fun playing around with pieces that I have and that I would like to have. Change that to YSL. Horrible experience, not because of the stock. They had great stock, but these sales associates were extremely pushy. They didn't listen to anything that I had to say, and so that was a downer. We then, however, went to the Hawksmoor for dinner and had a wonderful time here. My husband absolutely loved it. He said that it was his favorite steakhouse that we've ever eaten at. The architecture was beautiful. The history behind the building is really interesting if you have a chance to look that up. And the food was really good as well. The sides were some of the best that I've ever had at a steakhouse like this, in all honesty. So I was very impressed by that. You're able to see into the kitchen, which I really liked as well. So did my husband. So definitely recommend this if you are looking for a neat steakhouse to eat at in New York. Now for day 4, this was sort of our Soho raw denim hunt day. And we're inside Bloomingdale's in Soho right now. Not a great selection in the store overall, but they did have a ton of different barber coats in, which was really surprising to me. The main thing that we were doing here was I was just popping in to see if I could find a tan wrap coat, as this is one of the things that's been on my wish list for over a year now. So I wanted to stop in here as we were passing by because it was very cold and windy outside. But the main reason that we came to Soho was to look at a whole bunch of different raw denim shops. We started with Naked and Famous, which is the brand that my husband wears normally for his very heavy, can stand on their own jeans. And the stock here, my husband was really unimpressed with because they did not have many sizes at all. What you saw was what you got. However, Shot was fantastic. The only reason that's not rated higher is that the women's section was super tiny and tucked into a back corner, but the staff was really nice. They had a ton of selection out, a ton of different sizes. They also had more sizes in the back if something that you wanted wasn't out. And so we had a really good time trying on some really cool jackets in here. This is the Grateful Dead version of their rough suede jacket, and my husband really liked the jacket, but he wished they made a plain version in the men's, which they don't, but they do in the women's, which is what you'll see me trying on in just a second here. Next up on the raw denim hunt list was Blue in Green, and this was my husband's favorite store because they had the most variety and the sales associates were the nicest in here of any of the raw denim stores that we went to. They had a huge variety of different products and I really enjoyed being in that store as well. We got a quick little snack in Lauderay because I was hungry. We then went to the RM Williams shoe store, and this store smelled amazing. They just didn't have anything that fit me. We then went to What Goes Around Comes Around, which I was super excited to get to go to. This was on my list, and they had a ton of really cool products in, and a lot of very unique products in. Now, they have gotten into some issues with Chanel since I filmed this video, but that doesn't change the beauty of the products that were in the store and the really special pieces that I got to see that I normally wouldn't. I did try on a couple of things. This was a Chanel dress. Here we have a Louis Vuitton leather dress. And then the final blue dress is by Dolce & Gabbana. Obviously, this did not fit at all, and I was super disappointed because it actually, tag-wise, was well above my size, and it still didn't fit. We then went into APM Monaco, and I went in here because this is a brand that Charles Leclerc represents and does a lot of advertising for. So I wanted to look at the quality, and the quality I was super let down by. So really pretty sad on that, as I absolutely would have bought a piece from here if I thought the quality was good. We then went to 316, and this was a store that my husband really enjoyed as well. They had, again, a lot of variety, but really not much raw denim, which my husband was super disappointed in. They were, however, having an in-store event, which was pretty cool to get to see in New York, having people who were in charge of companies, in charge of really neat brands, be in the store and getting to talk to them about their pieces. We had lunch at Los Tacos #1, and they have locations all over the city, and this was absolutely fantastic. It's honestly probably now my favorite place to eat in the entire city. My husband got the Especial, and 100% recommend getting that. All the tacos that we got were also great. We then went to Macy's, where the great coat hunt continued, and I tried on a ton of different wrap coats and started looking at other colors instead of just tan, including white, grays, and greens. But honestly, it was so crowded with tourists and kids that it wasn't a very enjoyable shopping experience, so I ended up just taking pictures of the tags of the items that we liked. Now, the reason that Macy's is rated as a 2-star is only because of the coolness of the fact that there were original escalators. We then ended the night at Self Edge, and this was right near our hotel. My husband really didn't like this one as much, not because the stock was low, but because the sales associates acted like we were bothering them by coming into the store to look at things. So my husband ended up not even trying anything on that he had hoped to even purchase besides this one jacket, which he just thought was really cool, but was obviously too big. And so this one was definitely a real letdown. We've heard that the LA version of this store is way better and way bigger. Now, the next day we started out by going to Dominique Ansel's bakery, and here a lot of the foods that we tried that you're gonna see in a minute were huge disappointments. The cookie shot leaked, the hot chocolates didn't particularly taste good and were really just kind of gimmicky, and like I said, they didn't taste good. Then the other food that we got didn't taste great except for the cronut. The cronut is 100% worth waiting in line, is 100% worth the trip to go there. It was delicious. The one that I had was like a maple cappuccino. They do a different flavor every month, and I would go back in a heartbeat for a cronut. This was fantastic. We stood in line at Goyard for about 30 minutes when they opened for us to go in there just to look, and then we went over to the Natural History Museum because David Yurman had given us tickets as part of our VIP client experience up there. Those tickets included all the different special exhibits that we got to go into as well, which was really neat to get to see. That David Yurman has donated several pieces, including a very large gym structure that you'll see here in a minute. Here is the gym piece that I was talking about, and this actually came from Tennessee. They found this whole run of crystals, but these stones that are in here, as well as they had a jewelry exhibit going on as well, were just absolutely incredibly beautiful to get to see, and honestly my favorite part of this entire museum. As while the history that they show is interesting, to me the geology is what makes this museum worth going to. After leaving the museum at closing, it was definitely dinner time, and so we grabbed some pizza and a Parmesan chicken sandwich from Marinara Pizza. Good food, not the best in New York, but it was definitely good and it was quick, which is what we were needing. We then stopped at Grand Central Station on our way to our final stop for the night because my husband had never been inside of it and I wanted him just to get to see the terminal before we left. Our final stop was Strand Books and we were there until close. Our last morning we ate at Russ and Daughters because it has been around for a very long time and was very close to our hotel. Definitely skip. Nothing that we had there was good at all, so I cannot recommend this in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So signing off from LaGuardia, and I will say if you have not been through this airport in a few years, it has definitely been updated since the last time I came through here pre-COVID. It's so much cleaner, so much brighter, so many more good food options to choose from. But hope that you have enjoyed the vlog other than that, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!